Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am back with another version of my style of Bargello quilt block. I made one that looks like this, I don't know, a couple of days ago. You might remember it. I have a video I will link down below and also put it on the end screen. The way I did this one, I had to trim top and bottom because when we moved the strips up and down, it made things a different length up here and on the bottom. I found a quick and easy way that we're going to solve that problem. Not that it was a problem, but if you wanted to do bigger, you know, you end up wasting fabric. So we're going to do something else tonight. But I am going to tell you that this is still probably just good for quilt blocks. Not for like an entire one-piece quilt, because it would be really cumbersome to do this with a big, you know, a gigantic strip set. You could do matching blocks and make your pattern that way because it would repeat, but that's where it gets complicated because at that point you'd have to make each block identical. And we're doing totally random. So if you like this and you like the block it makes, there's nothing wrong with making a quilt with some Bargello blocks that are all different. Different colors, whatever. So anyway, no matter what, just play with this. It's just a piece you're making. I am going to try to find a way for us to do something where it can be any size quilt. But for now, we're going with this. And one more thing, well, actually, it's more than one thing. I want to tell you about the rules that I'm breaking here. I have watched quite a few Bargello quilt tutorials over the past few nights, and one thing that I notice is every one of the ones that I have watched, they use all the same size strips. Like they're either all 2 inches or 3 inches. And they make their strip set like that with all the same size strips. You'll notice mine are not the same size because I want to do different. The other thing is they don't repeat the same fabric. It'll be like 15 different shades of blue going from light to dark, that kind of thing. You'll notice I have all kinds of stuff going on and I have repeated this black because I like a pop of something happening in the middle, on the top, whatever. Another thing I notice is they're very particular about getting the strips perfectly straight and sewing them perfectly straight. I don't care if the strips are wonky. You can have them, you know, be crooked, doesn't matter. Especially with a block, because you can trim the block after it's all sewn together. And if your fabrics are wonky, I think that just adds to the beauty of the quilt. For this one, we are going to be doing a tube like they do for other Bargello quilt blocks, but we are not going to be doing seam ripping. We're just cutting because we are lazy and I don't want to take time to rip some seams. So I'm just going to go sew these together. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strips. Doesn't matter, just practice as many strips or as few as you want, as wide as you want. Do remember that every time we cut and sew together, if you're using about 1/4 of an inch, every time you have a seam, you're going to lose a 1/2 inch of the width. So that's all stuff to consider when you're actually making quilt blocks for a quilt or an actual big quilt top. So I'm going to sew these together. I will be right back. I've got this all sewn together. I didn't realize that my strip set was going to be this big. I have some wonkiness going on. One of these strips was cut quite crooked, so I'm kind of glad about that. I was forced to do the wonky. I'm waiting for my iron to heat up, and I'm going to tell you, you want to press all the seams in the same direction. If you think that goes against every rule you've ever heard, don't pay attention to the rules. All in the same direction. What I do is I get my iron, and when I put my iron down, I like pull the fabric and I just move the iron so that it's, you know, nice and flat and opened up on this side. Then I will go and press and, you know, make sure that all the seams are, you know, as flat as can be and pulled out. If it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. I will show you the block I made last night. I was so mad. I made a block didn't really expect it to come out good, and I loved it, and I didn't have the camera on, and I was so sad. So I'm not doing that anymore. I don't do without you anymore. You have to be in my life as I experiment. So I'm going to, let me just go press this. Like I said, we are going to be creating a tube. I'm not going to trim the sides yet. I'm waiting until I make the tube. So I'm going to fold it up. And I just want it to be nice and flat. And at this point, I'm going to look and see if, you know, this is straight enough. I am just going to go ahead and sew along there. You might want to trim yours if you're not comfortable with, you know, just sewing a straight line and eyeballing it. I'm good with that. So I am, though, going to put, like, this line here, and that's going to make it straight, and then I'm going to trim the edges. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew to make my tube. And all I did was sew these two together, so we have a tube now. You are not going to be pressing this one to any one particular side, and that's okay. We can live like that. Now we're going to turn the tube right side out. And now we're just going to cut some strips. I'm not paying attention as to how narrow or how wide. You just want varied widths. So I'm not going to say, like, do 3 at 1 inch. Oh my God, I watched a video that you had to start at 1 inch and then you had to do 1/4 of an inch larger for each one. And you had to keep them in order. And you couldn't get screwed up. And you had to remember which color to seam rip. Oh my God. I was like, I'd need to start drinking again if I wanted to do that shit. So I'm just going to cut. And I'm not paying attention to widths. I'm just cutting. I do want to keep them a little bit straight though. So I just put it on a fresh line. And we don't have to keep these in order either. They're going to get all mixed up and just thrown into a pile. Like that. Just throw them into a pile. I will say the narrow ones are the ones that really add character. So do make sure you get a couple that are like maybe 1.5 inches or so. Let's do a little bit wider here. If you cut some too wide and you don't need that many wide ones, you can always cut them again. Look, I'm going in the pile, the random pile that we don't care about. Okay, I am taking you to the machine. I forgot that. I have to go set up my other camera. I'll meet you at the machine. Now that I'm at this camera, I just wanted to show you again. This was the first Bargello style. I'm waiting for like a stuck-up quilter to tell me it's not Bargello if I don't do it the right way. But hey, this looks like Bargello, so I'm going with it. I actually read some comments under a woman's tutorial, and somebody left her a comment saying that she appreciated that she was so meticulous and particular and exact with her sewing because she doesn't like to watch videos by sloppy quilters. Oh my God, I wanted to tell that woman, please come and watch my videos, just to give her a heart attack. Okay, so I will link to the video for this guy. But this is the one that I made last night, and then that I regretted that the camera was not on. And here's what I love about it. Just more colors. So random. Doesn't matter which way is up, I guess. Does not matter at all. And this is how it ended. See, I didn't trim it. I left it like that on purpose to show you. See how little we have to trim? Wow, this end came out almost perfect. Oh, that must have been where I was starting. Yes, I was starting with the black at the top. You'll notice that, like here, it would end up with a brown at the top. It's just because of the way I shifted things. And we can shift as much as we want, and we're always going to have the strip be the same length, no matter how much we shift, because of the tube that we made. So, let's just get our strips. And I'm going to pick a strip. Let me see. I'm going to start with something kind of wide. I want my black to be what I start with at the top. And I'm going to have a pair of scissors. And I'm just going to cut this black strip anywhere. Look at that. I'm going to open it. Now I'm going to put it where all my seams are going in this direction. See how that works? So it's going to be nice and easy to sew. Obviously though, I want this side up. Now I'm going to take another strip. I'm going to take something more narrow. And looky, look at what I'm doing. My black and yellow, you want to make sure that you're not going this way or you won't have any designs being created. See, this is black and brown. No, I want black and yellow. So I know I have to go this way. And let's say that I want to go down. I could go up. I can go down. I'm going to go down. I'm going to look here. And I'm going to cut this black equal to this that's already cut. The thing is, do not cut through both fabrics. So make sure you're under just this one. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be trimmed anyway. That was really not perfect because I tried to be fancy. When we sew this together, our strips are going, what? Long strips? What the hell was I thinking? Our strips are for the most part going to match up. And there's not going to be like a lot of waste. So I'm going to put these together. And this one, it's automatically going to be with the seams going down because we planned it that way. And I'm going to sew. And here too, if you're going wonky and it's not straight, it's okay. This final piece that we're making, like this, when you get to this, you can trim this any way you want. And if you make a fairly big piece, like I could probably get like four 4-inch squares out of this. I mean, that would be cool. You don't have to use your whole piece like this. Mine, because I'm not creating anything in particular, will probably be cut up and used in my crumb quilts. So let me finish this. I will not press until I'm done, because I want to just sit here and work on this. Now, you see, I went down. We're just about even up here. And we're just about even down here. Pretty cool, huh? So let's go again. Put my finger a little bit, do a little bit of finger pressing. Let's see, I'll go with this width. Okay, same thing. I want to make sure I have black. Oops, see, black and brown. That's wrong. So I have to turn it. Black and yellow. Now let's go down. And if we wanted, hey, I could do that for the heck of it. We could do this block just all going down. Let's do that. So I'm going to go up here. And I'm going to be cutting, where are my scissors? I'm going to cut right here. Again, make sure you don't cut through your whole strip. And if you're cutting close like this, that's okay. Just leave that there. We're not doing seam ripping. All right, I'm going to sew this on. I'm telling you, this is easy. Once you do it, you're going to love it. Next, let's go wider. Let's bring the yellow down. Oh, let's do a nice big jump. Now you see, we're going to start cutting where the brown is now. Now even though this is sticking out, I want to cut where that fabric is. So I'm not going to cut on the fold up here. I'm just going to cut like this. Ah, so easy. Alright, I'm going to go a little bit narrower this time. Now we can see we're starting to have the brown show up here. We still want to make sure we're going in the right direction. I want yellow down here, then the black, then this brown. But we can start using the brown and black as the steps. So let's just go right there. This is what I want. Let's do a big step. I like that. Ooh, we're going to have some green now starting to show. So exciting. Now do remember, we could have started going back up, but I've done that already in the previous block. So I want to just try this now. Looking good. So again, just to remind you, if you wanted to start going back up, all you would have to do now is like make your black be higher than this one. See, up, and go back up this way. But like I said, I want to keep going down, like steps going down, because I'm curious to see how it's going to look as we introduce the colors that end up popping up at the top. So let's go down again. I'm going to cut that here, and we're going to have a little bit of the next color starting. Why does this excite me so much? Will somebody tell me why on earth I made this long? I mean, what was I fucking thinking? 'Twas not necessary. Shall we go wide and then narrow? Sure. I say so. Okay. I'm going to go narrow than wide because it's going to be my last piece, so I'd rather end on a wider note. If you know what I mean, Jelly Bean. Let's go down like that. So I'm going to be cutting like right about there. Shit. I think I fixed it. And last but not least, I just needed a little piece like this to show you guys. I could have done very narrow strips. I don't know what's wrong with me. Black, yellow, brown, green, and let's go down like, how about to there, like that. You know, if you ever screwed up and you cut in the wrong place, you could just put your tube back together and then cut in the right place. It will make that strip a little shorter because of the extra seam allowance. You know, so at the end you just have to trim the whole thing a little bit. That's not the end of the world. I still can't get over that woman who doesn't like to watch a sloppy quilter. You don't know how much I wanted to invite her to my videos. Okay, I haven't even like looked at this, and I don't really want to without you. I want to go press it first. So I'm going to be going to the iron. Let me back up a little bit. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to like put my iron down and just, you know, like with the weight of the iron here, I can tug on my fabric a little bit, and then I just push them all in the same direction. And then I'll be right back. Don't go away. So here is what we have. You'll see how long this is. I really, seriously, I have no clue. I mean, I thought this was long, and this is like half. I don't know, just wackadoodle. I'm glad I tried going just all the way down like we're doing a flight of stairs. I don't love it as much. I like the randomness that ends up almost like looking like a little city. You know, it's like buildings and stuff. I like that better. And we also have that here. And I like it better, I think, with, you know, wider strips where, I don't know, I just like to see the colors like this. I think this is probably my favorite, the very first one. Now, when you watch this video, I did it a different way, not a tube. You certainly could do this, you know, this kind of pattern, but by using the tube. Now, let's study this one again. You know, I still like this. I like the bigger blocks of color. I really do. That's more up my alley. So if I were to make like a mini quilt for a tutorial, I'll end up probably doing that. This, I mean, I like it and it looks like way complicated, but it was very easy. This, for sure, would have to be cut. I'm going to put my thinking cap on though. Before I cut it, what I was thinking is I could cut it and then do a digital quilt show at the end, but I don't want to jump to a decision like that because I might find a project that this is good for. Like it could be like a mini tote or something. and where, you know, it is big, I'm not going to cut it up at this point. I might think of something that I can do with it and turn that into a tutorial. So I'm going to leave it as is. But for sure this, you know, we know it's big enough that it could be cut into blocks. So you could always think about that. You could, you know, just make yourself strip sets with, you know, colors that you like, cut it into blocks, sash them, do whatever you want. I hope you at least liked the method a little bit better. I really like it. I would never want to be seam ripping and stuff like that. Go watch some other Bargello videos and then tell me, do you think some of them are overly complicated? I mean, I probably saw them, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago, and it's been on my list forever, but I was like, I don't want to do this because it's just too complicated. And then all of a sudden one night I was just playing with it and this was born, and I was like, okay, new addiction. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe so you don't miss any more of my tutorials, and I promise that I won't use massive lengths of fabric to do a tiny project. I'll be back with more soon. Bye!